Alright guys, welcome back. It is time for another storytime video. So if you guys didn't see my first storytime video, we actually talked about a time where somebody brought a gun to my school. I will link that down in the description below if you missed it, and maybe I'll make a playlist out of these so anyone can refer back to them at any time. As time goes on, we will get more and more of these great stories uploaded on here, but if you're new, make sure to subscribe for more awesome content like this, and without further ado, let's get into this story. Police brutality, man, or at least something like it. It's a very, very controversial, hot topic today. So before I even start telling this story, I'm gonna go on a limb here and just say we're not doing the politics thing, okay? We're not gonna start arguing like animals in the comment section. This is purely for entertainment purposes. So sit back, relax, get a bag of popcorn, and enjoy what I'm about to tell you right here. So this was back in my high school days. I believe I was 17 years old, and the reason I know I was 17 and not 18 is because if you get in trouble with the police and you are 17, your parents actually have to be the ones to come and pick you up, or parent or guardian. You can't just leave on your own. Maybe some of you troublemakers out there in the audience know that for yourself. But anyway, that's how I know I was not 18 years old at the time, because I vividly remember my dad coming to get me and basically whooping my ass after this. So here's how it all started, man. And before I even say it out loud, just take a wild guess of how this all started, right? What is the number one thing that may cause trouble in your lives as a teenager? That's right. Girls, man, girls, every single time. Can't trust these girls. I couldn't trust these girls back then. You probably still can't trust these girls now, man. I'm glad that I'm a married man. I'm out of the game. It seems more ruthless than ever to be in the dating world right now. So I'm glad I'm retired, and happily so. So I was 17 years old, and I was texting this girl that I was trying to, hang out with. Texting her on my Motorola V300. I'm gonna put that picture of that phone on the screen right now. That's right, to all you young dudes out there, this phone actually existed. This was a real thing that people used and texted on. Be glad that you don't have to use it today. So I'm texting this girl, and I'm trying to hang out with her that night. It was like a Saturday night. It was the weekend. I remember there was no school the next day, and I was out with my buddies, driving around, just generally being goofy, doing what high school kids do. This girl tells me she's ready to hang out right now. So I'm like, cool. Where are you at? She gives me the location of a motel on a certain turnpike. Maybe if you've been to Connecticut, you know which turnpike this is. But she was at a motel where there was a party happening. So I don't even know if people still do this nowadays, but I'll just go old man on you for 1 second. Back in my day, we used to have hotel parties in high school. Don't know if they're still a thing, but if they're not, that's when you get a friend who's 18 years old and you rent out a hotel room and you just have a bunch of people come over and have, basically have a party at it. But you gotta have somebody who's 18, because you have to be 18 years old to get a hotel room, or at least you did back then where I live. I don't know if that's true everywhere. So this little hoe is texting me from this hotel party she's at, and you know how it goes, dude. When you're texting a girl and they're like drinking and you're young, you're in high school, and you're being all flirty, using the extra letters, doing that whole thing. Kids today probably do it on Snapchat, but I'm sure this, about the same stuff still goes on. So this girl knows exactly why we're texting, She's like, yeah, come through right now. So I'm like, okay, what's the address? She gives me the address, and myself and the squad of 3 other friends are all of a sudden in my friend's car on the way over to this hotel party. So we roll up to this place, right? It's probably one of the skankiest motels in a string of motels on this turnpike. Like, this place is basically, in the 80s, this place was known for hookers, drugs, and all that stuff. It's not, not the type of place you really want to be going. And looking back in hindsight now, this girl was definitely not the type of girl you want to take home to mom, which is exactly why I didn't invite her over to my house. It's when I went to go hang out there at a fucking hotel party. So we pull in the parking lot of this hotel, right? And we're looking around, we're trying to figure out where this thing is going on. I text her, and I'm like, yo, we're outside, come let us in. And we're looking around at all the balconies because there's some people walking around on both sides, and I soon realized there's more than one hotel party going on at this hotel right now. So we don't know which one to go into, so we decided to just hang back in the parking lot until she comes to get us, because we don't want to risk going into the wrong room, because A, you're gonna look like a bunch of asses, and B, there's probably crack whores in there anyway, and you probably don't want to get involved with that crowd anyway. So we're just chilling on the car, me and the boys, and we're just waiting for this girl to come out. Gotta be Mr. Cool Guy, leaning up against the car and light up a cigarette to try to look extra cool when she comes to get us. Oh god, dude, just thinking about this is making me laugh. Okay, so we're waiting against the car, all looking, super cool. I'm probably about to get laid. Maybe one of my friends can get laid, she's got some friends there or whatever. Everything's good, right? These are the best times in high school until they aren't. So all of a sudden, we turn around, we look at the entrance to this hotel, the driveway, and I literally see, like, no exaggeration, there's probably got to be at least like 6 cop cars just storming in with their lights on. So these kids that are partying at both of these hotel parties, all of a sudden, they start doing the thing. Cops are here. And all at once, I probably see, no exaggeration, like 30 to 40 people in each of these parties just run outside and start throwing these bottles of liquor off the balcony. And it's just like glass is breaking everywhere because everyone's underage. No one wants to get caught drinking. So, of course, you got to get rid of the evidence when the cops show up, right? So it is quite literally raining glass and liquor. I'm sitting there smoking, looking around. I'm kind of looking at my friends like, man, maybe we should get out of here. This is probably going to end badly, right? These cops start getting out of the car and they start just charging at this room, at both of these rooms, right? Like all where these people are, they're just running towards them. And they were not screwing around, man. Like they were like screaming. I mean, you know how it goes, right? But these cops were like extra aggressive for some reason. More on that later. And they run right past us. So I'm like, I think we better just go right now. Like those cops just ran past us. If we stay here, we are surely gonna get in trouble, right? So we're all in agreement. So we're gonna leave right now. Screw this girl, man. We can hang out some other time. We go to get back in the car and then like 3 more cop cars pull in and then they get out and they put the flashlights right on us. Now I want to ask you guys in the audience viewing this video right now, if a cop is coming at you and they're being overly extra aggressive and they tell you don't move, what's the number one thing that you think you probably shouldn't do? See, I was being the cool guy. I was just brushing this off because this was a hotel party that was happening and we weren't at it, right? I mean, the cops didn't know we were about to go in, but no, I mean, in my mind, I was just going to say, no, we were just hanging out here, man. We were not at these parties. I mean, I wasn't even drinking that night. None of us were drinking. So like if we blew a breathalyzer, we would have blown a 0. So these cops are charging us, telling us not to move, and me, like a dumbass, I'm sitting there walking towards them saying, hey, everything's cool, I'm not even at this party. Before I know it, dude, before I even know what hit me, I'm just on the ground, dude. This officer literally picked me up by both my shoulders and just threw me onto the ground. He probably threw me at the ground from like a good 2 to 3 feet up in the air. Like when I say that I fell, I mean like I fell like horizontally. He picked me up and turned me sideways and just threw me onto the ground. So I'm on the ground face down, and remember how I said I was smoking a cigarette earlier? The thing falls out of my hand during all this, and I'm literally laying on top of it. So it starts burning me right through my shirt. It's going right through the shirt and burning my skin. So instinctually, I just jump up again because the fucking thing hurts. It was at that moment that this dude just winds up with his leg like as far back as you can go and just kicks me, man, right in the rib cage. No joke, dude. I saw stars. Like I literally thought my ribs were all broken. I thought I thought I was gonna end up in the hospital. So thrown on the ground from a couple of feet in the air and then kicked right in the ribs, and he told me, and stay down, don't move. Meanwhile, I'm just screaming, sitting there like, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck is your problem? Just being a loudmouth kid, making everything worse and worse for myself. So he tells us all not to move. He goes over and, whoops some other kids' asses. Everybody's just stuck on the ground at this point. And they start apprehending people, so they finally come over to us, and he tells me to get up. He goes, what's your name? So I tell him my name. He goes, what are you doing here? And me, still believing in my head that I wasn't doing anything wrong. I guess I really wasn't doing anything wrong, but who the hell is gonna believe me in that scenario, right? So I tell him, I wasn't even at this party. I was just hanging out in the parking lot here with my friends, and we were about to leave. So obviously, it goes without saying, of course, he doesn't believe a single word I'm saying. Then he asks me, how much did you drink tonight? I told him none at all, because that was the actual truth. I hadn't drinking that night. Had I made it into that hotel party, yeah, I was probably going to drink a few, but hey, technically, I was not telling a lie with that one. And he grabs me by the shoulders and he says, I'm going to ask you one more time. How much did you drink tonight? And don't fucking lie to me. He said the F word. So me, being the ultra intelligent person that I am, said to him, you could breathalyze me right now and I'll blow a 0. Slammed to the ground again, dude. So now I'm starting to get pissed off. So he leaves me there, and it was about that point I decided to finally shut my mouth and just stop being a smartass, because I'm clearly losing in this situation, right? So he goes over to my friends. He does the same thing to them. They saw what happened to me, so they cooperated. One of my friends was 18, so he got to just leave. And then the rest of us, myself and 2 other friends, were given the choice. You could either call a parent to come pick you up, or you could go to jail. So I pull back out my Motorola V300 now. By the way, this fucking girl didn't even text me back. Getting left on red during all this, man. Jesus. And I call my dad to come get me. So it goes without saying, my dad was not very happy to be picking me up at almost midnight in front of a fucking hooker motel on the turnpike. So I'm just so angry at this point. I'm like, I had the whole time that he was coming over there to just think about what was going on. And by the time he got there and he just showed up and he was just not happy happy, and I just started flipping out because I figure now, what's this cop gonna do? Whoop my ass in front of my own dad? He wouldn't dare do that, right? He didn't end up actually doing that, but I just go, my dad comes up, and you know that feeling when you're just so extremely upset that you have that lump in your throat and you can't even talk, and you're out of breath and you're hyperventilating and you're like literally you're about to explode because you're so frustrated. That's what I was doing, and I was like, Dad, this fucking cop threw me down, he kicked me, he fucking hurt me, all this shit. My dad was just like, get in the fucking car, we're going home. So it ended up being the reason why these cops were so overly aggressive because there was actually a 2-hour standoff with guns drawn at the exact same hotel just 3 hours prior to all this happening. And for whatever reason, those cops weren't sent home after, man. You would think after like an incident like that, they would just tell them, you can take the rest of the day off, but they kept them on the job. So they're coming back to the same hotel now, and they don't know what they're about to see. And, obviously it was just a bunch of goofy kids. I think they overreacted anyway, but still, that was the reason for all that aggression. And oh my God, man, after that point, I was like, okay, man, you're not God, you're not cool. Stop thinking you're cool. Just cooperate when you get questioned by the police and you'll be fine. And that is pretty much how I've lived ever since then and have no problems. My mom was actually super freaked out by all this when I told her the story. She actually tried to get like a lawyer involved, but we ended up talking to one and they were like, there's not much you could do. I saved my shirt because I was wearing a white t-shirt that night, so it had the cigarette hole in it and it had the shoe mark from getting kicked. But from what this lawyer told us, he basically said nothing's gonna happen, you're just wasting your time. So we all decided to move on and live happily ever after. I did end up chilling with this girl like a couple of weeks later, so I guess it all worked out, man. That's all I gotta say about that. Anyway, that concludes story time for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little different than the usual ones, but we're gonna slowly but surely build the story time arsenal here on this channel. If you have a similar incident that happened to you, I'm sure plenty of you do. Let's hear about it down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more awesome, amazing content just like this. Follow me on Twitter, link is down below, and I will see you dudes in the next video. Love you, bye.